The Wizards buffing system has been regarded by many painters and restoration experts as the best finishing system available today. The Wizards buffing system includes Turbo Cut, Finish Cut, the Wizard Pads, Wipe Down, and Shine Master or Mist and Shine. These products work together as the Wizards buffing system. The key product in the system is the Finish Cut compound. Combined with a proper pad choice, Finish Cut will deliver high gloss finishing while leveling to remove 1500 grit or finer sand scratches on fresh paints.
Finish Cut is amazing because it can actually be used as a one-step compound and eliminate the need for several different products. When using the correct pad for the job, Finish Cut will not only remove sand scratches and level the finish, but it will leave the paint finish with an extremely high gloss without the regular swirl marks left behind from other compounds. After the job is done, cleanup is very easy. The Finish Cut leaves very little dusting and powder residue is at an absolute minimum. It is a water-soluble formula, so it cleans up very easily with water without staining or etching. The Finish Cut will work great on all types of single-stage clears and OEM factory finishes, whether they are fresh or aged. The thing to remember is that fresh paint is always going to be a little softer, so when compounding it's going to cut faster and scratch easier. Because the Finish Cut formula does not have the traditional rigid abrasives, it finishes off without the swirls, making it an excellent choice for fresh paint.
You said it doesn't contain the traditional rigid abrasives. What kind of abrasive do you use that makes it work?
The Finish Cut does have a series of non-rigid abrasives that start out with more cutting power and then break down into the polishing stages as it's used, thereby giving you the best possible initial cut along with an excellent finished gloss. The Finish Cut does not contain any wax, silicone, or crystalline silica, which is the rigid abrasive. By the way, crystalline silica is not only a scratchy abrasive, but the dust generated by it has been linked to some forms of lung cancer. That's why it's always a good idea to wear a mask when working with those types of products.
What's so special about your technique, and how do you use the Finish Cut for the best results?
I have a vehicle right outside. Why don't we step out and I'll show you the process with the Finish Cut compound from start to finish. Well, we're outside now. We've got our aprons on, and we're going to demonstrate the proper use of the Finish Cut compound on a black finish. Obviously, it's not sanded, nor does it need to be sanded. The finish is factory OEM, and we're going to brighten it up, that's for sure. It's about a year old. Nothing's really ever been done to it, but you definitely will see a difference. Main purpose of this demonstration is to show proper use of the compound with the Finish Cut pad. Now, because I have a brand new pad, I am going to use a little bit more compound at first. Sometimes people will say, wow, that's a lot of product. You use a lot of product on there. Well, if I did ribbons or specks across the hood, we'd probably have a lot more. The proper way is to drop the pad down flat, right on top of that product. Apply some pressure. Start out slowly. Well, we're using overlapping motions. We're not going very fast. We're running the buffer about 1800 RPM. However, we're not moving the buffer very quickly. We're getting to the point now where the product is almost gone. We're to the point where we would be dry buffing, which we really don't want to recommend. As you can see, that product comes out very nice. We did not create a lot of heat, even though I was applying a lot of pressure. Now, if we were working on something that was sanded, obviously we'd have to inspect it closely to make sure we've gotten all those sand scratches out. In this application, we don't have to do that unless we have some finer scratches we are working out. I can see a real nice reflection just from that little bit with the Finish Cut pad. Now, the second step, obviously, if you're working on something corner to corner, you would go from the top to the edge. Working a couple square feet at a time, you'd never want to spread it out across the entire panel very quickly. But the next step would be to grab the foam pad, and I'm just going to grab it right here. Now, the yellow foam pad is a stiff, high-density foam pad, which is excellent for the second step. With our backing plate, we do have the centering device on there, so you can line it up, so you don't have to constantly fight with that irregularity, always flipping around oblong. Now, this is a new pad, so that once again, it's going to take a little more product to soften it up. Once it is used for just a matter of a couple of minutes, it does soften up, the product does get in there, and it's a lot more comfortable, it's a lot easier to work with. Once again, we add the product in one spot, And you always want to drop it down right about in this area here. You don't want to get it too far in or it stays within that concave area. Getting it too far out will get too much splatter. Putting it right in the middle, it doesn't even do anything. So we'll drop it down right in there. Start out slowly. In this application, we don't need to apply much pressure. However, if you have some scratches, you can apply pressure. And this pad will pull out any buff marks that other pad may have left behind. Working on fresh paint, the yellow pad is excellent. Obviously, this is a cured paint. Works excellent as well. Some people say, oh God, you're moving too slow, it's going to take too long. Well, if you take a look at it here when I'm done, it's looking pretty good. Grab the wipe down. What that does is it pulls off any of the residue we have left over from the compound. And in the case where we were doing any color sanding or wet sanding, we'd be able to see if we had missed any of those areas. And once again, you have to inspect it. So what do you think?
Looks great.
It always does.